Hello everyone, today is 31st of July, end of month, and first of all let me thank all of you in our community for attention and support. Thanks to you, this small media project survived another month, so truly grateful. Now it's 10 o'clock in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late, about 6 o'clock in the evening Moscow time during the live stream, and I hope you will find time to join that live stream. Of course, I will share all the additional news in second update that Russian media will report during the day, all the main news. That's being said, let's talk about breaking news for this morning, which is that Hamas Chief Ismail Haniyeh was killed at his residency in Iran. So, leader of Hamas political wing, Ismail Haniyeh, has been assassinated along with one of his bodyguards in Tehran, capital of Iran. The Palestinian group and Iranian authorities have confirmed. Hamas was quick to blame the killing on Israel, which has so far declined to comment, and this is of course a major escalation in the region, and of course hardly anybody has any doubts that behind this assassination was Israel. Netanyahu's government. Media in Arab countries are reporting that attack was conducted with a missile strike, and that missile was launched from outside of Iran, so that was a long-range missile strike. And well, such capabilities are in hands of whom? Israeli government, obviously. Netanyahu is clearly out of control, although unfortunately it seems like forces that are behind him are emboldening Netanyahu and his associates to conduct more and more provocations to basically provoke regional war, because if you remember, I said many times in my previous updates that in my reading of a bigger geopolitical picture, Western ruling class wants to provoke regional war in the Middle East to cut China from Middle Eastern energy sources, especially from energy sources that China receives from Persian Gulf through Hormuz Strait. And how Western ruling class going to achieve this, if they will ever, to provoke war with Iran, somehow to force Iran to get involved in regional conflicts. And this action of Israel is clearly playing in hands of Western ruling class, because assassination of Ismail Haniyeh was conducted in capital of Iran, and of course now Iranian leadership has some tough decisions to make about possible retaliations, because you know, it's insult. This action of Netanyahu's government is clearly insult of Iran, Iranian people and Iranian authorities. I don't know what will happen, but as time goes by, Middle East is getting closer and closer to regional war, and this information only confirms that, because if today Israel assassinated Ismail Haniyeh, political leader of Hamas, yesterday early morning media reported about Israeli strike on Beirut, capital of Lebanon, and according to some reports during that strike, one of the commanders of Hezbollah, Fouad Shuker, was killed. According to some reports, he survived, but clearly this attack itself is next level of escalation with Hezbollah also. So unfortunately it is clear that Netanyahu's government and forces that are behind him, including Western ruling class, are pushing this region towards all-out war. And this is all done because of their geopolitical agenda of the Western ruling class, their sick ideas and their ideology. And I'm afraid if Russia and China don't get involved right now, I'm afraid it will be impossible to stop this nightmare that is about to devastate Middle East. If Russia and China sign with Iran agreement on bilateral military protection and support, that might theoretically at least stop Western ruling class, including and their client states, including Israel, to continue these provocations. Otherwise, it seems like it's only a matter of time before they will finally provoke Iran to get involved in this confrontation. And if Iran is involved, then one may say the entire world will get in flame. Let's see how things develop, but clearly we are not receiving any optimistic news from Middle East for a very, very long time now. Let's talk about also, of course, about zone of special military operation, and we have a report from RIA Novosti that according to Russian Defense Ministry, settlement of Leninsky is under full Russian control now on Toretsk direction, which is DPR, of course. And well, when I see this information, I was a bit confused because I clearly remember about 2-3 weeks ago there was also reports about Russian control over the Leninsky settlement. I reported about it, but maybe Kiev regime forces conducted some counterattacks last week or two and regained control over some territories, and the Russian forces had to retake control over these areas once again. But in any case, Russian Defense Ministry is confirming now that Leninsky settlement, which is here by the way, and surrounding areas are under full Russian control. And not just that, but some independent sources are reporting about Russian control over the settlement of Artyomovo, which is here by the way. So this area is also under Russian control now, which means significant progress of Russian armed forces towards Toretsk. And right now, if you take a look at the map, it is becoming clear that Russian troops are advancing towards Toretsk, not just from southern flank, from Artyomovo area, but also from the eastern and the northern flanks, because Russian troops actively advancing towards Kirova and Druzhba, and battles are already inside these settlements. And therefore, I would not be surprised at all if before end of, maybe not this week, but next week for sure, we will see Russian advances inside the Toretsk itself. I know some sources are reporting that forward units of Russian military are already in Toretsk, but maybe that's reckoning force operations. Some Russian reckoning sabotage units probably are operating inside Toretsk, but I think it's an early call to make that Russian troops already are in Toretsk. Some sabotage groups probably yes, but not the frontline units for this moment. But things may change very rapidly, because we see many times that when Russian armed forces increasing pressure on certain directions, Kiev regime's defense lines are collapsing almost straight away. Let's continue now, and we also have TASS news agency's report about statements of Abdialaudinov, Major General Abdialaudinov, who is a commander of Hamas Special Forces, of course, and high-ranking officer in Russian armed forces. And he said that since the beginning of the special military operation, Kiev regime lost about 700,000 military personnel. And this is KIA, by the way, killed in action. And being high-ranking officer in Russian armed forces, of course, Abdialaudinov knows much more than any of us about situation on the line of contact, about situation in zone of special military operation, and he has, I believe, every reason to make such a statement. Huge number of losses on part of Kiev regime, and This information only confirms my prediction that it's only a matter of a couple of months now, and most likely Kyiv regime forces will start collapsing, not just in some separate areas on line of contact, but all along the front line, because there is no army in this world that can recover after such losses. Western media outlets probably will not report about it, but that's what Russian media is saying. RIA Novosti is also reporting that, according to Sergei Lebedev, coordinator of the Russian underground or pro-Russian partisans in Nikolaev region, during the last night, Russian armed forces conducted successful long-range precise strikes on points of concentration of Ukrainian neo-Nazi Kraken and Azov formations, and also two military airfields of Kyiv regime was targeted, one in Berislav, which is Kyiv region, and another one in Mirgorod, which is Poltava region. At this point, no precise information is available about casualty numbers on the part of Kyiv regime and losses in terms of military equipment, but during the day probably we will receive some additional information, and of course I will share this information on my Telegram channel and during the second update. RIA Novosti's report about decision of Pentagon to allocate another 1.5 billion US dollars for Kyiv regime, for military aid to Kyiv regime, and also Kyiv regime already received or is about to receive a new military aid package for 200 million US dollars. At this point, probably no one is really capable to track all the money spending of the Washington and the Pentagon when it comes to supplies of Kyiv regime. We're clearly talking about hundreds of billions of USD. But anyways, we have report from RT that US announces also supplies of F-16 missiles to Ukraine. This information first was highlighted by Wall Street Journal. So US made fighter jets that are expected in Ukraine soon will be equipped with the modern US missiles. Wall Street Journal has reported, citing high-ranking officials, Kyiv has clamored for the delivery of their F-16s for a month, as its Air Force has run out of legacy planes, despite replenishments from the NATO countries such as Poland and Slovakia. One major unresolved question was what to arm their American planes with, as their missile mounts were incomparable with the Soviet era designs. According to Wall Street Journal, Washington will provide Kyiv with HARM, AMRAAM, and Sidewinder missiles along with their guidance kit. All of these are currently in service with the US military. So F-16s that probably will appear in Ukraine skies sometime in upcoming weeks. Those F-16s will be armed, as it was expected, obviously, with the US air-to-air missiles, AMRAAM and Sidewinder, and also HARM missiles that are, theoretically at least, anti-radar missiles, air-to-ground missiles, so to say. Let's see. Russian fighter jets, fighter pilots, and Russian air defense systems are already probably cannot wait to take out those F-16s. So let's see. RT is reporting that Pentagon also reveals value of lethal weaponry sent to Ukraine. The US Department of Defense has said that since the President Joe Biden took office in January 2021, even before special military operation has started, more than 56.1 billion in security assistance has been given to Kyiv regime, and this information is false, of course, by the way. There is no way anybody can trust Pentagon ever. Real number of military and financial aid that collective West provided Kiev regime is accounts for hundreds of billions, over 300 billion at this point, I believe. Number is somewhere there, but Pentagon is willing to acknowledge just 56.1 billion, which is laughable at this stage of this proxy war that Western ruling class is waging against Russia. No wonder Pentagon cannot account for 2 trillion, isn't it? 1 or 2 trillion US dollars. And Washington did not even care to give a public any answers where those trillions went. And as long as US society is okay with such a corrupt system, then I don't think any US state institution will even try to be accountable to the public. No. Vzglyad newspaper is also reporting that US is transferring significant number of military vehicles, military equipment to Poland. And in this particular case, we are talking about some 86 Abrams tanks and about 150 armored personnel carriers, most likely Bradley and Strykers. And the rumors are that this deployment of this large number of military equipment to Poland is yet another attempt of Washington to further arm Kiev regime, because this equipment probably will end up in hands of Kiev regime. This is rumors, by the way. Officially, Pentagon did not yet made such a statement. But if you remember, in previous updates, I said many times that almost all US transferred their military vehicles, including Abrams tanks and Bradley infantry fighting vehicles, have been destroyed by Russian forces. I lost count of how many Abrams tanks been destroyed, but it's about 20 at this point, and only 31 was transferred. And one should keep in mind that those vehicles not always are in working conditions. So if about 20 is destroyed, from rest, at least some 20-30% probably is undergoing some works and are not battle capable, and only like 5, 6, maybe 7 is battle ready. And therefore it is becoming obvious that more weapons, it's only a matter of time before Washington will announce more tank deliveries to Kiev regime. And what tanks those gonna be? Of course, Abrams tanks. And same situation with their infantry fighting vehicles. And therefore these rumors probably has some ground, because it is highly likely that those 87 tanks and 150 infantry fighting vehicles will end up in hands of Kiev regime and eventually will be destroyed, obviously. RT is also reporting that EU states sends oil ultimatum to Ukraine. Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico has warned that Bratislava will halt its supplies of diesel to Ukraine if Kiev does not restore oil flow through its territory from Russian energy giant Lukoil. Well, Bratislava and also Budapest, by the way, Slovakia and Hungary are in a quite difficult situation when they are providing Kiev regime with their energy, with humanitarian aid and stuff, and still Kiev regime is acting hostile towards Slovakia and Hungary by shutting down that pipeline that was used by these two countries to receive energy. And I guess it is necessary at this point to show some force, because that's the only language Kiev regime will understand. And by the way, Szijjártó foreign minister of Hungary also commented on this issue of energy blockade of Hungary and Slovakia, and he said that this idea was not generated by Kiev but by Brussels, and this is yet another attempt of unelected officials in Brussels to strike at Hungary and Slovakia for their independent foreign policy, which is true, by the way. I was saying this from the very beginning, isn't it? I was saying that this idea is a Brussels idea, and Kiev is just acting on orders of this Ursula, Bursula, and the rest of the garbage in Brussels, right? And well, Szijjártó, foreign minister of Hungary, who has much more information, access to much more information, including classified information, of course, no more. And if he is also saying that it's Brussels behind this blockade of Hungary and Slovakia, then that must be the case for sure. And also, Szijjártó seems like sick and tired of arrogance of the Polish so-called elites, and he stated that well, Hungary had enough of Polish attacks, and it will be better. He called basically Polish leadership to take care of itself and its own countries, and stop acting against Hungary and making some false claims that Hungary is cooperating with Russia and buying Russian energy, while Poland itself is buying Russian oil. It's interesting, isn't it? According to Szijjártó, Poland itself is buying Russian oil, while when Polish leadership is coming out with these allegations against Hungary, that it's a Hungary that you know, acting as some sort of partner of Russia by buying energy from Russian companies. EU is a total mess, by the way. At this point, EU is a total mess, and I see all the reasons why Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban will regret now his relatively recent statements that he don't want Hungary to have a border with Russia. Probably he wants now. And Hungarians also probably are realizing that it is better to have a border with Russia and work with Russia directly, because that's what may happen. Hungary may end up being in blockade by formally its partners, EU member states, and there are client states of the West, like Kiev regime. And dear friends, when it comes to Ukraine itself, you know my take on Ukraine, isn't it? I believe after this conflict will end, Ukraine will be divided, and western parts of this so-called Ukraine will be controlled by NATO, and the rest of their territory by Russia. And when it comes to western part, Poland will have a claim most likely on some 70%, about 70% of western Ukraine that used to be part of Poland before Second World War. Romania will have also some claims on some parts of western Ukraine that used to be part of Romania before Second World War. And definitely Hungary will have some claim on Transcarpathia that used to be part of Hungary before First World War. And during this divide of the western Ukraine, now because of this escalation between Hungary and Poland, I think it is possible that we might even see military clashes between Hungarian and Polish militaries for control of some territories, because it is in best interests of, and maybe even Romania get involved, because it is clear that Hungary needs direct link to Russia for its strategical safety, because those countries that formally are allies of Hungary in EU and NATO, they are not really allies and friends, they are enemies. And Hungarian political class already knows that, and I guess people of Hungary also. So I will not be surprised at all if this escalation continues, then to see direct military clashes between Hungarian, Polish, and Romanian forces for control over the southern parts of western Ukraine. It might sound like a fantastic scenario right now, but you know, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see, because Hungary and Slovakia, they are obviously victimized. They've been targeted, by the way. They've been bullied by formally their partners, and I don't think they're gonna take it lightly. And before I continue, dear friends, let me notice, if I may, that this small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble and Telegram is completely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work with donation through PayPal or Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, which is this one, by the way. Here you can see it. This is my Patreon, and yesterday, even though I was unable to make update on main channels, I had little time to upload video on Patreon, some bonus video, extra content on Patreon for our Patreon community. About Saturday, when we went to Moscow to finalize some paperwork in a university in which my daughter applied, and she is now officially a student of Faculty of Journalism in that university. And we also went to Krasnogorsk on Saturday to see some floods, because we are planning to move closer to Moscow, closer to university, really, so that for older daughter it will be easier to go to university and come back. And we went to Krasnogorsk. I made some videos in Krasnogorsk. Very impressive embankment in that city, which is right next to Moscow, by the way. Although yesterday we went to Moscow itself to see some flat, and probably we will rent that flat. Let's see. And therefore, dear friends, I apologize if there will be certain days in August when I would not be able to make updates, but I will definitely try my best. So yes, I uploaded on my Patreon this bonus video and spoke about that journey on Saturday. And I have plenty of extra, by the way, on Patreon. I'm definitely trying to keep this page interesting, informative, entertaining. And yes, if you can, please consider to subscribe. I really hope it is possible to reach 200 members before end of this summer. Although as time goes by, I'm becoming more and more skeptical. So it's all up to you, our community. Right now, it's only 148 of us on Patreon. And by the way, subscription starts from $5. It's not that expensive, really. Monthly subscription, and then you can choose level of your support, 5, 10, 20, 50, or whatever. So yes, if you like my work, if you like my channels, please consider to support her through donation or by subscribing to my Patreon. Or if you have some issues with Patreon, then on my Boosty channel, I also publishing bonus videos there. All the links are under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And of course, many thanks to all the members of our community who supported and continues to support my work. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Let's talk about some additional news now. And of course, Venezuela, by the way, is in headlines because CIA, Washington, and Langley, which is CIA, of course, are trying now to conduct some color revolution there, and already clashes are taking place between police forces and supporters of this so-called opposition, Western-controlled so-called opposition. I see this morning reports that more than 700 people have been detained for the illegal actions in Caracas, capital of Venezuela. And well, for now, seems like police and army is standing next to legit government. And the elections, by the way, election results in which current president of Venezuela, Maduro, achieved success. Those elections have been recognized by Russia, China, and a number of other major countries in this world. And therefore, I take Maduro's government as a legit one. Although number of countries refuse to recognize these elections, US among them, number of countries in South America, in Latin America. For example, Argentina, Peru, Costa Rica. And as a response, Venezuela recalled its ambassadors from all the countries in South America that did not recognize election results. As I said, Russia recognized the elections, China recognized the elections, and well, as long as military and police are standing next to legit government, I guess Venezuela is safe. But if cracks will appear, and if CIA will manage to divide security forces of Venezuela and provoke confrontation between them, then, well, Venezuela is even in bigger trouble than it is right now. And by the way, I can understand that some people, many people in Venezuela may not be happy with their economical and social situation, and I believe Venezuela can be and should be governed better way. And I hope if Venezuela survives color revolution, CIA organized color revolution, I hope BRICS member states will provide all the necessary support for Venezuela to conduct some reforms, because Venezuela is not the happiest place on this planet right now, by the way. And therefore I can understand anger of some people that are participating now in these protests because they are not happy with the way that life is in the country. But yet again, those people are mistaken if they think that if they will back CIA puppets, life in Venezuela gonna get any better. There are so many examples, by the way, in this world, and I don't know what those people are thinking, that allowing themselves to become a tool in hands of CIA and their CIA puppets in the country. But they might cause even more troubles for themselves and for their country than they have seen before. Anyways, let's continue. Interfax is reporting that Lukashenko, president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, pardoned German citizen that was sentenced to death penalty in a court of in Belarusian court for being a mercenary that was fighting on side of Kiev regime in neo-Nazi formations. And well, probably sometime in the future, this German citizen will be released. Maybe some exchange will take place or something of prisoners, and this person will be released to Germany, maybe. I don't know, but I reported about this sentence of this German citizen, and I said straight away that it is highly unlikely that he will be executed in Belarus, and that's exactly what has happened. Probably he will be exchanged, or let's see. Also, by the way, we have Artis report that Blinken, head of US State Department, issues yet another threat to China. So Washington will continue to take measures against Chinese companies if Beijing does not halt its alleged support for Russia's defense industry. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken told Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Laos on Saturday, okay, you can threaten whoever you want, but if things continue as it is now, just give it another 10-20 years. And by the way, I'm not even sure US will exist on the political map. Under such a stupid leadership like US has right now, I'm really not convinced that US will exist on the political map as United States of America, because it's failing, brother. Under this leadership of neolibs, globalists, multinational corporations, intelligence community, deep state, call it whatever you want, but under current crazy leadership, US is going down big time and very rapidly. And I wonder why US citizens, why majority of US citizens did not see this. And if they see it, why they are not taking actions to transform current US, which is a failed empire, into republic once again. Republic that it meant to be, according to founder fathers of the US. I don't know, but I mean, take a look, man. Who the hell is blinking to threaten China, man? I mean, those people are so out of touch with reality that they, I guess, really think that they can threaten anybody and they will achieve anything with this. These losers, by the way, this sick loser Blinken is threatening China, really? Holy moly, man. TASS news agency is reporting that, well, Trump is blaming OPEC now, by the way. Trump did not yet become president of US, and he is also starting to threaten left and right, just about everybody, which is also not good sign, by the way, not good. And he is threatening OPEC now, and the reason is that, according to him, OPEC is cooperating with Biden's administration and lowering prices on oil, especially to harm Trump's campaign or something. I mean, this is also sick, man. This is also a sick idea, man. OPEC plus countries are interested in balanced prices, because too high prices on oil is not good for a business, because it will create difficulties in economies worldwide, which will in turn create a downfall in demand, and low prices also are not good for business, and therefore OPEC countries are looking for a balanced price, which is only right approach. But for whatever reason, Trump thinks otherwise, I guess, which is also nonsensical. But nowadays, when last time we hear anything sensible from US, man, or US officials or former officials? Do you remember when you last time hear anything really adequate from former or current officials? There might be one or two individuals here and there when they say something okay, understandable, in between some other crazy statements, but in general, all you hear from US is some craziness, really. Which is sad, man, which is sad, because I said many times before, I mean, world needs fair and just US to balance this world, you know. But under current political class, I don't think you're gonna get a fair and balanced US, man. It's just US. It's just impossible. And this information is only confirmation of that. US national debt tops 35 trillion now, and it seems like every couple of months this US national debt is increasing on another trillion, and at some point to service this debt, US will start spending trillion just for service. The US will spend about trillion, which is, I mean, just crazy, man. This is crazy. I'm afraid US already crossed the line of no return. And all because of this sick people, sick individuals, mentally sick individuals in charge. In deep state, not deep state, whoever is in decision-making process, whoever is involved in decision-making process in US is clearly inadequate. And the current situation of US is factual proof of that. I mean, I don't think there is any necessity to looking for additional proofs. I mean, just take a look at the US, in what state US is. Take a look at the debt that US has. Everything is obvious, man. Everything is obvious, and as I said before, until people will realize that they need a true revolution in US to regain control over their own country and to build a republic once again, until then, I don't think tide will be turned and US will start moving towards peace and prosperity again. I just don't think so. Ria Novosti is reporting that, well, UK now is no longer in top 10 of industrial countries in this world. Interesting news, isn't it? While British political class is acting if they are on top of the world, UK itself is suffering. UK's economy is suffering. People of UK is suffering because of these crazy so-called politicians. And yet again, do you need any additional evidences of that? UK, country of both of industrialization, is no longer in top 10 industrial countries. You know, this headline says it all. And by the way, if you are interested, Russia is on 8th place among industrial countries and climbing. And I guess this is it for now. European economies are down, by the way. There are three major economies, Germany, France, and UK, and all three economies are on edge of recession, and one may argue that those economies are in recession, and only because of the manipulation of the government and this Western-controlled rating agencies. Officially, numbers are not yet indicating that it is countries are in recession, but even with the manipulations, economies of these major European countries are like on the border of recession, and it says it all, really. But for whatever reason, despite this situation, seems like majority in the European states, majority in US, for example, they don't really care, and they are continuing to support those crazies that bring so many problems to public. It is what it is, but yet again, it's up to citizens of European states, up to citizens of US. If they want to destroy their own countries, then what can I do about it? Nothing. Okay, this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, informative, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. This is the only way we can deal with this immensely unfair and unjust YouTube's algorithm. And for very same reason, if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends in real life, or on internet, on any of the platforms that you are active on. After all, there are not that many channels on YouTube really that are reporting in segment of news and political commentary, that are making updates on daily basis. And yes, what else? If you like my work, if you want to support, you can do it. All the links are under this video in the description box, in the pinned comment. PayPal, Boosty, Patreon, also crypto wallet addresses. And yes, this evening 6 o'clock live stream and the second news update, 6 o'clock Moscow time, by the way. I will publish notification about it on my Telegram channel and also on community page here on YouTube. Unfortunately, on Rumble there is no such a thing as a community page, or at least I didn't find it. But I will record the live stream, of course, and I will publish it on Rumble also. Okay, this is it for now. Have a great day and take care.